What is up, people of YouTube land? I'm Awesome2464, you are my viewers, and this is Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. We are on the first day of the trial of Lena Skye, I believe her name was. It's not looking good for us, as usual. She's confessed to the crime. There's evidence saying that she did it. And the prosecutor is Edgeworth, who apparently might be involved somehow. Yeah, but I'm sure we'll find a way to work past it somehow. And apparently, in the trial, I'm guessing we're going to be working with Ema Skye. I'm just going to call her Ema. I don't know if that's her real name or not. Yeah, we're going to be working with her instead of Maya, because Maya's gone. I'm sad about that. Anyway, let's just go. February 23rd, 9:34 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of doing wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Skye, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her. And that is, you're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. Yeah. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's gonna bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Yeah, he's got a point. No Fae's helping him. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. Alright. Let's hope we can get something out of this. February 23rd, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 9. What am I talking about? The court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lena Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. I haven't been in court since Edgeworth's trial. It's been a while now. 2 months. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lena Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow, he's more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Starr, to the stand. The cough-up queen. She reminds me so much of April May. Just how she comes off as like this nice lady, but it actually seems more of a deeper, darker witch. Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Oh, caviar. I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really wolfing it down. He's seriously eating it. Ah, and for you, I have a fiesta bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? Ah, and you, sir? Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honor. How does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. I can kinda see why you think that. What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Name, profession, now! Me? The name is Angel Starr. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The Prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. Hurry it up. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime.
Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional.
Huh? What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. Okay, that makes a little more sense. She was a first-rate homicide detective.
What?
Miss Starr was a detective? Ah, ha! I know who you are. A cough up?
Cough up Queen Angel Starr, Your Honor. Long time no see.
Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Starr. Just who is this lady?
If I might have the court's attention over here.
So she's a detective. Ex-detective.
The parking lot of the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. The B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks.
I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor spaces, yes.
The crime took place by a car on the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with a knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot.
And who was this valiant witness?
Why, it was me, Your Honor.
Alright, so we got the floor plans. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime?
Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor.
It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright? I can't agree on principle, Your Honor.
It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have for remaining?
If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Starr. Wait, are they talking about me? Oh boy. Alright, witness's account.
Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective instincts working. Then, through a wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. I have a feeling that's going to be important. Then she thrust the pointed tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest.
Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend? How touching. As you can see, there is no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman.
So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed?
I'm still thinking about that.
It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. Do we have evidence? That's a direct contradiction? Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. Yeah, I am curious about that. How did you know?
I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that.
Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors?
I felt that I found my dream job when I became an investigator, and if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one.
Laid off? She was fired.
To me, prosecutors are nothing more than words. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless.
Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend. This boyfriend, he's the detective.
Not that boyfriend, the security card.
That boyfriend? You have several?
Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend.
Get a join! Oh my gosh.
The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants.
I'll stick with the lunch, thanks.
Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. Oh boy. The security guard room is in the lot in A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there.
That would be the room with security sign, the one Ema thought was a cafe. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car?
Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block.
So, she was in B block when she witnessed the crime.
I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finally home detective instinct was working.
You sensed something? So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder?
It felt like... how would you say... oh yes. It was like the feeling you get when you spew a pumpkin chock full of seeds.
I have no idea what that means. Same here, Judge.
Speaking of a detective's instincts...
wasn't the victim, Mr. Bruce Goodman, also a detective?
Yes, well, he was like a young cheese.
A young cheese?
A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn.
I, of course, am hard, yellowed, sharp as a tack.
I bet you stink, too. In any case, there in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. Then, through a wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car.
By garish car, you mean...
Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes.
Mr. Edgeworth's?
Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed with was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it?
Indeed, it was. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you are sure it was the defendant?
I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her.
If she's telling the truth, we're doomed.
Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always complain.
Witness, in your testimony you clearly stated that the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness.
You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the further future, rookie.
Huh? Rookie?
Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter, crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside.
That was inspiring.
I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism? I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed.
Oh. A photograph? You took this?
The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap! I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera.
I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. This is my first time seeing this photograph.
You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs.
Well, this is most certainly the defendant. This is really not looking good for us, is it? Uh-oh, that is unmistakably Elena Skye.
So, what was the defendant doing at the time? The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand.
Tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying.
Well, I'd say the blade was about 10 centimeters long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all.
Yes, that's about right.
Prosecutors are, by nature, well versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set.
You can't testify as to her ability to kill an egg. I mean a person.
Perhaps a chicken salad would have been a better metaphor.
So the defendant was holding a knife. What then?
Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Let me check that knife again. Yeah, it doesn't. The tip isn't really covered with blood. I don't know if that's fully important. The tip's not covered in blood, so I'm just curious. Nope. Dang it. Your Honor, what do you think about this witness's statement? I'm not sure I follow him. It's clear it contradicts the, I thought. You don't sound very convinced, Mr. Wright. Objection overruled. I think that one meeting goes to the judge. Yeah, because the tip wasn't covered in blood, so I just didn't know. Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did see her raise the knife to strike, no? The defense has a point. Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late. Too late? Yes, the next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon. I see. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Stark's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer. Don't smile like that. I thought I pressed everything. This something? Okay, yeah, because she's holding her left hand in the photo. And you witnessed this. You saw Miss Sky stab the victim with the knife. As I've already said, yes. I swear it's on my finest salmon swirl lunch. I'm sure that is a fine lunch. But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Sky not holding a knife? Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. Let's be a little more careful with our evidence, shall we? It is you who needs to be more careful, Mr. Wright. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. It was taken the moment after the stabbing. How can you tell that? Blood spatter. Huh? See the dark crimson stain on the chief prosecutor's coat? It's a black and white photograph. Ah, yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you. Mr. Wright, are you gonna just sit there and take that kind of abuse? Ugh, you got a better idea? Might as well. Might as well make an objection. Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it. If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, then try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Sky was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If this was not premeditated, she would have not been wearing those gloves. Wow! This is definitely not looking good for us, is it? These gloves do seem to be telltale of premeditation. Premeditated murder? A serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. Murder was planned. Rubber gloves prove it. What if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves? Like driving gloves? Oh boy. He really is running out of ideas, isn't he? The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. They were rubber gloves of the kind used for autopsies. In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make.
Is it?
Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime. Ah.
Impressive. I'm sorry they took you off the force, Miss Starr.
This is bad. She's got them thinking it was all planned. If she can prove this, the trial's already over. I've got to think of a way to show that this wasn't premeditated.
Okay. I think I understand why.
Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell box lunches for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk.
Indeed, it is my knife. Oh, because it was found in his car. So, what's with this case? The bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there. The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right?
Mommy, are the prosecutors bad people?
The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony.
What's that, rookie?
In your testimony, you stated that Lena Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing, the murder weapon?
Oh.
This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon. So what was that you were saying? Order, order, order. Great, now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't seducing yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah. The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lena Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution needs to prove. Nothing else.
Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do, she planned on killing him. It was planned. She wasn't. Why would she have been wearing...
I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again.
Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you! My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated.
Really now?
Alright, let's see what you have to say this time. Yes, tell us what you saw. Lena Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. Again and again. That's the thing.
Yeah, because the autopsy report said he was only stabbed once. The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. Does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it?
So, if I order pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy?
In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, because the autopsy report said he was stabbed once, I believe.
All the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. Yeah... Single stab wound.
You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that.
Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. Ew.
I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Starr. What do you mean?
I shouldn't have to explain this. But take a look.
Oh, so he gets it. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. Aha! You're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. What a hunk. He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed? Well, witness?
You got the crime scene set, right?
Oh, thanks.
I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. Now I realize that such mistakes are possible.
So, you're saying you mistook something for blood?
When she lifted the knife, I thought I saw blood on her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice.
Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify.
Oh boy, her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was.
Her red muffler?
Yes, like a scarf. The chief prosecutor always wears one around her neck. So she can be easily hanged at a moment's notice, I suppose.
She's right. This guy was wearing a red scarf, wasn't she?
Wait,
isn't that odd you mistook that for splattered blood? Well, people often mistake my beard for a bib. A judge with a bib. That's why this place feels so much like kindergarten sometimes.
Actually, I do think I saw some traces of blood on her chest.
However, the autopsy report is clear on this matter. There was only one knife wound. Apparently, Miss Starr isn't entirely sure of her own testimony.
Mr. Wright, this is our chance.
Chance for what, I wonder? Miss Starr has turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really set her off.
The short wick burns out the fastest. It's a scientific fact.
I wonder, wouldn't it depend on the size of the candle? I mean, add more wax and even a really short wick would burn longer.
Obviously, more scientific testing is required.
Wait, is she even wearing the scarf in that picture? Hang on a second. Yeah, she wasn't even wearing the scarf in that picture. Miss Starr, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work.
What?
Oh my gosh, is he figured it out too? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it with yourself. With this photograph.
Huh? But that can't be.
Only a true professional could be so clueless. I'm sure you'll make a good lunch lady, have no fear. Harsh words, but good.
In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. But, what was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there, a scarf. No, not that. Something I read, really.
Well, now where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, now back to business.
What?
Very well, witness, continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that.
Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least.
Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony.
The most important part?
Is she hearing our thoughts? The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might be the moment of truth. Hopefully.
Alright. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to the side. I quickly called her, explained her rights to her, then arrested her on the spot. Ah yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused with my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile.
What? You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you?
I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star.
That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, cobra is a kind of snake.
Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Note to self. Attorney Wright gets bitten by snake. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked me over an oil drum. Oil drum? Hard to imagine. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rah!
Very well, Mr. Wright. A cross-examination, if you will.
Let's take a look at this in more detail. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind the partition onto the side. So where is this partition on the floor plans? I'm sure she means this wall next to the car. That's right. There was a wall there, about 6 feet high. Oh, okay, so it's a wall. Gotcha. She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do. And what did you do then? I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. But she's not technically a cop, is she? You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her for the whole time. Maybe I should press her for more details?
Duh!
I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from... here?
That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes.
Is that correct, Miss Starr? Yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course.
Amazing. The cough-up queen, lunch lady athlete indeed.
It would have taken her a little time to climb over that fence. So she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. How come Miss Sky didn't get away? Interesting. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. Why? She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say? If I remember exactly, I would have told you in the testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler.
Just that one word?
Oh, and you automatically think scarf? So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else. Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? You mean this cell phone? By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately? My memory... It's like a salmon heading upstream, you see.
No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr.
The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. On the wall? That's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently, it was out of order.
And so she was used her cell phone.
Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day.
Good witnessing, witness.
Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying?
You should, of course, add this to your testimony.
The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. Cell phone updated. She kept on trying to use the phone on the wall and just use her cell phone. Let me check to see what exactly it says. The word muffler was overheard during a call. Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court?
Haha! I was going to ask the same thing.
I'll only say this one time, so listen closely, bookies. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. She then picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled her own cell phone out from her pocket. And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence. Then, when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her doing this. What is it, Mr. Wright? The chief prosecutor made escape, but what's going on? I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lena Skye. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? Who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, the phone was found by the car. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up. Ahem. Let's look at this floor plan. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, that's true. You couldn't possibly have seen Miss Skye making that phone call. Haha. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it. Wah! Yes. Order! What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies. Yeah. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie the witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about... boy. Where she saw it? She tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. It would be pointless for her to lie about it. Pointless to lie? I see. The witness did actually see Miss Skye using the emergency phone. In other words, Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I've ever heard one. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard until now points in one direction. The place from where Miss Starr witnessed the crime was here. The security room? I'm gonna take a guess. I don't know, would it be the security room? Yeah, let's just go with the security room. This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room? Indeed, the security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second level, so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place you could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Starr? How many years have I been getting the better of men? You'd think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has gotten the better of Angel Starr. Order! Order! Witness! What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished. And I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty? Is she talking about Miss Skye? Mr. Wright? Doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Starr lie? Doesn't make sense. Huh? She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything. Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands. It still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason.
So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright. Huh? Me? Who else?
Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference. But what? What would change? Distance? The distance to the crime?
I think so.
It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. My condolences, Mr. Wright. But one looks at the floor plan and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. Oh yeah, because she'd have to go downstairs and stuff. What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take for her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take for you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Skye?
Well, witness?
You...
Yes?
You ordered the squid wheels, right?
The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible.
I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend.
Boysenberry for the boyfriend.
He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And then, before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. Okay. That's why I had to go through the visitors' parking lot in B block.
That's quite a detour.
So that sort of taken a long time. Probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime.
5 minutes? Holy crap. 5 minutes? This changes things considerably.
But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear on my finest plastic spork.
You have a point. And the spork is a wonderful invention.
Would you like another caviar lunch?
Absolutely. Uh-oh.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something.
Do I have any evidence to stop this? I think I do. The phone, because she called her 3 minutes afterwards, yet she said she'd call her.
5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You can make pasta in that amount of time, if you like it al dente. I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange?
Strange.
If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor?
Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone.
But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time was different. Miss Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. Yeah! He's got a point.
Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. She has a grudge against the defendant, and there is a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go?
Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of professional history. We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright.
That was close. Too close. I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned.
Oh boy. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right?
That's the one she tried to foist off on me.
I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence.
What was that? Is this another one of her tricked lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Star.
Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox?
Woohoo! A triple-decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence.
Like the Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed.
What's she gonna pull off her lunchbox this time? Decisive evidence.
I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up?
Nope.
2 types of blood were found on the shoe, but one was of course the victim's, and the other was the defendant, Miss Elena Sky blood. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence.
What? Why would her blood be on the shoe? Well, what? There was blood found on that shoe?
Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs.
What the heck's going on? Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence?
Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself.
And you had blood tests performed?
Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics.
In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence.
What?
You should know the 2 rules of evidence law, Miss Starr. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating.
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth.
Yeah.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
Seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen.
You could at least study some evidence law, really.
The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. Well, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness.
Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged.
The heck, then. Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Sheesh, this lady.
Should have mentioned those 5 minutes while I wasn't looking at the crime scene.
Yes, you should have. Why did you lie about those 5 minutes?
I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results.
The results?
How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing.
Then why didn't you just tell the truth?
Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, and erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book.
This when the suspect is admitting she did it? False testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Starr. Let's just get this over with.
Now to the matter of the victim's shoe. Try to bring this up.
Nope. And you found this shoe at the scene of the crime.
I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful while I was waiting for the police to arrive. So, like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with a shoe. I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe was my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen.
I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag, really. In any case, you removed valuable evidence from the scene of a crime. Now, tell us what you did next.
I 2 types of blood were found on the shoe. One of course was the victim's. The other was the defendant Miss Lena Sky's blood. And why would her blood be on there? You can't say for sure the blood belonged to the victim and with a blood test. You claim to know something about blood tests, rookie? Well, speak up. Well, blood comes in 4 types, A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether murder was performed in cold blood. That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright. Actually, if you combine all the various blood tests, there are millions of types. It's practically impossible to narrow a blood sample down to one person. Or so I hear. Millions of types. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there's very little doubt it could be anyone's but Miss Lena Sky's. So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe. That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman. I was afraid he was going to say that. But why was she bleeding? Most decisive evidence. Let's see exactly what this shoe says. Ah! There's blood here too. On the sole of the shoe. It's got to be the victim's. He must have stepped in a puddle of his own blood. All this blood. It's horrible. This blood might be an important clue. This blood. It's my sister's, right? It appears so. Lena's right hand was bandaged when I saw her. Oh, okay. She must have cut herself at the time of the crime. Poor sis. I can't let this evidence go through without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Why would they even sell these lunches? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole batch of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with the shoe? Problem? This is critical. What's wrong with the victim's shoe? Hang on, let me check. What shoe is it? A right shoe or a left shoe? A right shoe. Yeah, because if that's his right shoe, then why is the blood on the left side if she cut her right hand? If I'm not imagining things, I say there is one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence. I'm gonna take a wild guess here. The problem with this evidence is here. Where? Take that finger and point it at your own head, Mr. Wright. Oops, nope. Guess that wasn't it. Mr. Wright, let's be scientific about this. Examine the evidence. As I thought, a waste of time. Well, that was a nice break. Let's return to the testimony, shall we? Dang it. Alright, now let's see if it's the blood at the sole. I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of the shoe. Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of his shoe? I'm gonna assume it's the picture. because she cut her right hand. I think. The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint? Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe was covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? Aha! As you can see, there were no traces of such footprints at the scene of the crime. Okay, I guess that's still good reason. That contradicts your claim about this shoe. This picture only shows part of the fall, so there could have been bloody footprints. If there were bloody footprints, they would have been found. We checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Order! 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 Well, witness? What? Huh? Great job. Great going, Mr. Wright. But it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint. Oh. That's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint. Think, Mr. Wright. Think. Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What? Hold it. I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Yes, please explain this, Edward. Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hand aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, that? Yeah, 'cause that would have been heavy, wouldn't it? I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory. Witness. Well, was the oil drum empty? The oil drum, kicked over by the chief prosecutor, was brimming with water. Water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Aha! You don't mean... Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would have become evidence against her. Got you. Ah! That makes a little more sense. That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clearly to the murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs. Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. That reminds me, Mrs. Guy's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she'd cut herself when she stabbed him? So my sister's blood on the shoe, that's when it happened? Well, I see no reason to excuse me, no reason to prolong this trial. Mr. Wright, do something, please. What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime, and she tried to conceal it. But... Enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor? Very well. But Angel Starr was on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water. This court finds the defendant, Miss Lena Skye. Hold it. Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you say that I, Angel Starr, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well, I thought you had your fill, but here you are demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence.
Wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else.
You've reached your verdict, Your Honor. Any further comments will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough up, Queen. Look at this.
What the? A photograph?
I had this just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim.
I see no room for error with this evidence.
Mr. Wright, wait. Look at the asphalt in this photo.
Hey, it's clearly wet. Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all.
It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning.
And it seems that this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right. Wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not until the bitter end.
This is the last piece of evidence. Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good.
Objection!
Your Honor, wait. What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait?
No, it can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we get each piece of evidence under proper consideration. So, right. Are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah. I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this.
I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem with this photograph.
Is it the shoe? Shouldn't it be washed or something? Well, it's probably here, don't you think?
As your elder, Mr. Wright, let me give you a piece of advice. When you point at something, at least remember to keep your eyes open.
I believe he's trying to say that no one's falling for your bluffs, Mr. Wright. Open your eyes, Mr. Wright. Think scientifically.
I suppose.
Then what's wrong with the photo? Oh wait, was that in the muffler? What is in this photograph is here. What's this?
There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor? You just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf in any kind of this photograph. A muffler is also part of a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as the part of the exhaust system, a pipe. I see, and I see. What's that suspicious looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler?
So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much as your testimony. Yeah, muffler.
What?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth is the muffler is related to the case.
Oh, God. Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler? Ah! Yeah!
Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so,
That means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. Oh,
Well, it seems we have to suspend the proceedings.
Suspend?
I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed?
I suppose so. Whew. That was close. But we made it. At least for now.
The court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all.
He's still hungry? To be continued. Okay, so... Alright, so we have to figure out what is up with the exhaust pipe and the muffler and the cloth and all that junk, but that will have to wait. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, comment what you thought, subscribe to my channel for the next part when that's out. Be sure to check out some of my other videos, and remember to stay awesome. See ya!